Hey, it's another Thursday here out in, of course, where we are. This is The Conversation, of course, outspoken and opinionated. My name is Edwin Maya. Today, of course, we have an amazing show. You guys all know this is the month of May, and at The Conversation, we have decided to give the month of May to Black/African women who are in politics. And so today, my guest is Cyvette Gibson, who was the mayor of the city of Paynesville in Monrovia, Liberia. She's a community and women empowerment advocate. I mean, she's done some amazing things. And so today, we're just going to have a conversation with her, to just understand what's going on, women in politics and how this whole thing runs. For you guys who have not, I'll ask you all to go to Essence Studio to watch We're Speaking, because it's amazing. There are some amazing Black women. There's amazing women from Liberia who's been featured on that episode. So you guys go ahead to the Essence Studios and check that out. But if you haven't noticed, I just want you to know that we have decided to do this. So if you can see, yes, the mug is in town, the conversation mug. We have the shirt, as you can see, I'm wearing. It'll soon be on the website for people to purchase. Our lovely friends and supporters who have been there for us. We appreciate you all. Someone had asked me why we decided to do women in politics or Black women in politics. Now, this is what I say. I think it's important for us to understand that this world, or that world that they consider to be the world of the men, is actually done. We have amazing women who are making it into politics. I mean, of course, our own Kamala Harris here and in the United States. But then, of course, I always like to say this. The first elected female president, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf from Liberia. And so that has happened. And for years, I think we were not able to see women as active as they are now in politics. And so I think I'm hearing from someone who started in government, who is working, who I would say went into politics, would be an amazing start. This month is going to be amazing women. We have, of course, like I said today, Cyvette Gibson. Next week is going to be another amazing young lady. The week after is going to be another amazing young lady. And then to end the month, we're going to have two people. We have a mother who's in politics, but then we also have a daughter. And her daughter is really going to give us the, her perspective of her mother being in politics and how it affected her positively, negatively. It's a lot. And so we will just get to understand what life is all about when it comes to politics and all that good stuff. But this is going to be an amazing show. Give me a chance. You guys know it's live, right? So we got to get some things together. But you guys already know that how it is. So, this is just part of the time where, it's going to be what it is. But this is going to be an amazing show. We're trying to get Cyvette in. You guys know this is what happens. This is a live show. This is the internet and all the good stuff that happens. We're trying to get her in. And so we know that she's going to be coming in soon. So let's just hold on, but let's just have a conversation. You know, everything is just moving. I think everything is moving with the lighting. I think women are making amazing strides in politics, in government. They're making amazing strides. Like I tell people, I think last year was a year of women, especially when it comes to the states. If you look at Congress now, you will see a lot of women. A lot of women are part of it right now, and so it's just going to be so great. And so you guys, let us just make this thing happen. I mean, the women voice are important. I think, like I said, I was watching the episode on Essence, and someone said, there have been women been speaking, but this is the time for us to listen. And so, when we get people who have been part of government, or people who have, ran for election, or whatever time it is that they're doing when it comes to politics, we need to understand that there is everything else. A woman can do so much. And so that's why I wanted women who are part of politics to join us this month, just to give us their honest understanding of what's going on. And so, we're trying, Cyvette is trying, she's going to be here. You guys just hold on. This is what happens. This is the internet. We're trying to get her in, but she's going to be here soon. So let's just have a conversation. You can put in some questions if you have it for me. Yes, the merchandise is available. If you want it, we can get it out to you. We have the mug. There you go. We have the shirt. We're going to be working on some other stuff. This is just sample. So if you like this, just let me know. But, just a little sample here and there to make sure that things are working. But we are going to make sure that everything is great. Everything is great. I'm just, the conversation, let me tell you guys, let's have a conversation. The conversation really started because I wanted to do something that I would say that it's really not happening. I think I wanted to have conversation around subjects that people aren't talking about. And so, I love to talk. That's everybody know. But I think this platform is really to have a conversation about topics that people really don't talk about. And so, especially when it comes to, like someone is saying, being a powerful woman doesn't make you less of a woman. I think it doesn't. I don't think being a powerful woman make you less of a woman. I think the fact of the matter is that I think when men see these powerful women getting into things that they consider as, the men's zone, I think they are intimidated, because from time immemorial, we know that when women start something, they take it all the way to the end. And I think that is exactly what the situation is. But we all know that there are powerful women around the world that are doing some amazing things. And so, when women get into politics, I think it takes it to a different level. I think it takes it to the place where there are a lot of scrutiny that is involved. And I think we need to also look at the culture. For us who are for us who are from Africa, it's a totally different thing. But I believe Cyvette is here. And if she's here, she's going to say something. But in the meantime, we're still going to be talking about, like I said, I think, it's important for it's important for little girls to see, these amazing women who are a part of history. And so I think Cyvette is here. Cyvette, are you here? Can you hear us? Because we can't hear you. But this is what it is. And guys, just hold on. We're going to get this straight today. But it's what it is. I think, women are important in society. I think, especially when it comes to politics, I think just the structure of a woman, lack of a better word, but I just think the position of a woman, I think that nurturing spirit and that spirit of getting things done and looking forward, I think it just brings up a different understanding when it comes to politics. I think because of so many years where men actually has taken this thing and ran with it, we are seeing a different shift. And I think, like I was thinking about, okay, so, as a president, as a female, are they going to start bringing clause in where, they talk about, maternity leave, or they talk about, all this kind of stuff that needs to be included into policies? Because, hey, when these women get in, there are things that we are seeing. And I think women are going to be younger and younger women getting involved in certain things. And I don't think there should be a certain age limit. I don't think women should be restricted to anything. I think they should have the opportunity to go to do exactly what they want to do. And so, this is what it is. We are here. I think Cyvette has joined us. Cyvette, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Cyvette, can you hear me? We're having some technical difficulties today, but I know it's going to work out because it's going to be a great show. But can you hear me? Move her back. Yeah. So, so let's talk about some strong Black women in our lives. I think someone said, so I have some examples of strong women in your life. I think for me, one of the strongest women in my life is my mom. I think my mom, she's worked hard. I think she's done a lot in her life that has made me to understand the strength of a woman. I think the only example of a strong Black woman, a strong African woman, is my mom. And then, of course, there are other women who have been in my life. There are other women who have, imparted my life that have made me to understand the strength of a woman. I think when you grow up around women who dare to be different and women who are, they're just great. Like I always say, like I have an aunt who is superwoman. My aunt Miriam is a superwoman. The things that I've seen her doing, coming to America and being a part of her household and see what she's done, it's like nobody else can explain it to me. But it's a lot. It's a lot for us to, for us to do. There are a lot of things out here that women can do. There are a lot of things. I think everything that a man can do, a woman can do. And I think that's why I can't wait to get Cyvette to join, because I think because she also was a member of Ellen Johnson's government. And so she can give us understanding of, how it is to work in female leadership. I think she's back again. Can you hear me?
How are you? How are you?
Great. Yeah, she is. I told you guys we don't do this because this is what I'm talking about. But guys, this is what it is. This is a live show. Stuff happens. Cyvette, I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Your voice is important. So your voice is the most important thing. So even if we can see your face, your voice is the most important thing. Welcome to the conversation. I was telling those who are watching the audience, this month is a month that we decided to just talk to women who have participated, who I can say be in politics. Because for me, I'm like, if you work for the government, you are in politics, because there are a lot of policies, procedures that you have to do. And I was just telling them, like, the fact that you worked with Madam Salif in her government, you can give us an understanding of what it is to work in a government with a female leader. So since you're here, we are going straight in. I want to ask you, how are you doing?
I am well. I am great. Thank you very much. Blessed and highly favored.
Okay, good. So physically and mentally, you're blessed and highly favored.
Yes, I am. Edwin, you're right.
That's it. That's what we're gonna do. But so I'm gonna go. So when me and my team talk about getting you, somebody said, you know what, you need to watch her interview with Baku. Last week I had Baku on the show. And so I went to watch it, and that's the first question I want to ask you. You need to explain to us. Because when I look at your Instagram, I'm like, this is the real lady. So how did you work in the mines?
Oh God!
Before we go to politics, I need you to
explain
the mindset. How did you do that?
Actually, I loved it. I love it. I'm multi-dimensional. I don't have one dimension. So I have the ability to do a lot of different things. And I come from a line of women that just, it's just an unusual stock. Strong women. I stand on the shoulder of very strong women. So I knew going into mining was something that would be exciting and something that will prove to be financially resourceful. So I initially went into the mines. Believe it or not, women were not allowed in the mines in our country.
Yes.
In Sino, I was the first woman to go into the mine. I couldn't believe it. Because I said, if I'm investing tens and thousands of dollars inside a mine, how am I going there to see what happened to my money?
Exactly.
Not possible.
No.
Come and rely. Come out and tell me what happened with my money. What happened with my money? I don't think so. So it was very difficult. It required me to adjust a great deal, because you can imagine when you go into the mine, you don't have any shelter, you don't have any housing. You're living from God to man, really. So I had to go in and get tents initially we had to build some sort of structure, but then we had to do tents. And then, you know, you have our wild animals that's around, because I was very close to the Sapo Regional Park at that. So
Whoa.
you had, yes, and that's one of our in the country where our animals are considered to be endangered species. So the residents in Sino, they do not kill those animals to consume them. They just allowed them to grow and grow and grow. So we had animals that were unusually large, if I must say, in which we resided with. So, but I would tell you, it was exciting. It was a heck of an event, and I would not trade it for anything. I would not trade it for anything.
Amazing, amazing. But you know, I think for me, it's like, okay, she was in the mines, but you know what? You have done some amazing things, and I think what happens is, this is what I was saying earlier. I think women don't put themselves out there like they're supposed to, and so I just, girl, you got Wikipedia. Did you know that?
I was informed. Someone
You
else
have
told me to
I Google you. I'm like, so when you got Wikipedia, you're a big deal.
Edward, you
But just
are
in case
right.
you didn't know, you have Wikipedia. So I just want to be the first
God.
person, to say you got Wikipedia. But you know what? I just want to talk about, watching your interview, just following you on Instagram, following you on social media. You did you worked with two amazing women. And I don't know if people can understand like the power that comes with that. But you were part of MCC. You became city mayor of Paynesville, and you did your little thing. But I just want to talk about your tenure while you were in MCC before you went to PCC. How did that happen?
Well, Mary Bro is someone who's been like a mother to me from the age of 14. So I've known
Mm.
her for most of my life. And actually, Auntie Mary was at, and I call her Auntie Mary, I'm sorry, but that's what my
Mm-hmm.
terms of endearment. But Auntie Mary, one day she was driving to passport. She was working, she was the passport director at that time.
Yeah.
And she was yelling at some guy on the pen. At that time, I was into mining. And I went window, I said, Auntie Mary. And she said, yeah, I'm dealing with him. She said, because when I become city mayor, I will mess with it. So I was just like, okay, all right, Tamara, Deuces, nice to see you. Anyway, I was in Sino, I was in the mine at the time when the announcement that she was mayor. So I came back to Monrovia, of course, to see about other things, and I was on my way out of the country to actually go and submit my consent and so I could get paid. And so I stopped at MCC, and I came upstairs and I entered and went upstairs to her office area, and she saw me in the corridor. And she said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, Mary, I just came to congratulations, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh, yeah, oh, this is, I'm here. So she's like, come in my office. So I went into her office and she started telling me about, her vision for the Monrovia City Corporation. And she hadn't been there, I think, even about 3 days or something. But she was telling me about her vision and about the staff, et cetera, et cetera. I said, wow, that's amazing. So she said, well, I don't know what you're doing, but, when you have the chance, just stop by. So I said, well, I'm leaving the country in a couple of days, but I'll come by. I came by the next day, just popping in, this is this next thing I knew. It's Mary and I were working full-fledged in the office. Like literally, I don't know, I acquired a desk, this is this, but I started working as a volunteer. I said, oh, okay, I will help you, but I'm not in the country that much. I'm not in the city as well. I'm in Sino. I'm doing my mining. The bottom line is that we started working. I would come in like maybe 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day until it ended up being 14-hour days. And just rolling out the vision of the Monrovia City Corporation, working with the staff, building capacity in them, ensuring that we have transparency and accountability when it comes to the institution, ensuring that we have donors and our partners come on board and understand where we're trying to take the city corporation. I would tell you that was a heck of a life experience, because a lot of people that, when you go into city corporations, especially me, that I was sitting at the helm of power, I was to some extent, but I tell you, I had to learn from the ground up. You had to learn where the cracks were in the system. You had to learn on where we lacked capacity, where we had staff that were inept, making sure that people were properly placed, making sure that worked with us. I mean, it was a life-changing experience, and I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity to serve the people and the residents of the Morovia.
And so you leave, MCC, and then you become city mayor for Paynesville. And just for my little knowledge, I gather that you are the youngest female to be the city mayor of Paynesville.
Yes, that is true.
So looking at that, so you left MCC and you go to Paynesville, and I might be wrong, but I think most of Monrovia is situated in Paynesville. Most of the people reside in that area of the country, of the city.
That's correct. That's correct. Yes,
good.
You're right. You're
so
right.
Now you move into that area where you have red lights and ERWA junction.
Yes.
And you have given this, when you are given this task, what did it come with?
It came with $19 in coffers. It came with $19 in coffers and experience. That's it.
Wow.
Yes. And I tell you, I remember when I requested the bank statements and the statements came in, I was floored. I said, what? This is insane. I mean, how is it that the entire city corporation has $19? It was actually $29, and they $10 for the statements. So we that's how we got reduced down.
So you deduct that $10 just to give you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. So that's what it came with. But I tell you, believe it or not, someone, I love challenges, and I was for the challenge. I knew what tail, and I would just say I was grateful to have a team that was committed as I was at that time, to ensure that the Paynesville City Corporation came out of such destitute and darkness. Because when I got to the office, actually, I didn't even have a desk.
Oh,
I didn't have a desk. I didn't have a chair. I didn't have anything. There wasn't even a computer in the building.
Oh, wow.
So, and this was familiar territory to me, because when we got to the Morovia City Corporation, their environment was somewhat similar.
Okay.
Yes. So I knew what my challenges would be going into the Paynesville City Corporation. So when I got there, I already had pretty much all of the tools that I needed to ensure that we turned the city corporation around. Wow. But I tell you, the challenge, it was something that I enjoyed, and I just would not do it for anything. But I clearly remember that every time I would get to, and this is really the reason I accepted the post. Mm-hmm. And what encouraged me to go for that post was that every time we are ELWA junction, soon as we cross the, it always felt as though I entered a different country.
Wow.
It just didn't seem like I was, in Monrovia, even though we weren't in Monrovia, but it's like the Kota Road stop there.
Yeah.
There was just, there were, a lot of street hawking taking place. A lot of, obstructions on the road and on the sidewalks. Taxi ranks all over the place. It just lacked systems. It just lacked order. And when I looked at it, I said, there is no God-given reason why we cannot succeed in this municipality. Why is it the residents should not receive the services that they should from the taxes in which they are paying? And most especially the businesses. Why is it that they should not receive the services that the city corporation should give them? Why is it that our residents should not have access to green spaces and clean water and electricity and roads? All of things come with municipal governance. Policing, making sure that your communities are secure, making sure that your communities are clean. There's so many things that city government does that people are unaware of, but I'm just pleased, and I was honored actually to serve in that capacity and to change the lives of the residents city of Paynesville.
And I will tell you this, for someone who will go back home on a regular basis, I can tell you there was a major change before we used to go, and then after you became city mayor. Because I was like, I remember, of course, we're coming home 3 o'clock in the morning, and those days where it's dark on the road and you know where you're going. Because I'm the person who drives when I go Liberia. And I remember coming back, and I'm like, okay, there's something different. And so I think just looking at the space being clean, people aren't on the road in the middle of the road at the ERW junction running in front of you and all that stuff just made a huge difference. And so you right now, you after, of course, it's presidential post, I believe are you elected, or are you that the position, is it elected position or is it an appointed position?
Okay, the position I ran for representative of District Number 9.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which is Monrovia.
Mm-hmm.
And that was we did that December 8th, 2020, and that was in the district of former representative. Unfortunately, she's deceased, Muna Pelham Youngblood.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, we weren't successful in attaining the seat. The seat was actually, is being occupied presently by a CDC member by the name of Frank Foco.
Okay.
And we're watching his work within District Number 9
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that our residents receive representation that they should.
But I would still commend you, because I remember when you announced it, it was on social media and everything. I remember, for me, I thought it was a really short time with everything, and you guys are mobilizing and going ahead and doing everything that you were doing. But what I want to understand, someone asked a question: what were your top 3 goals accomplished in your time to solidify your legacy?
To solidify my legacy where? In Paynesville?
In Paynesville.
Oh, the first thing on our agenda was sanitation.
Okay.
Yes. Water, sanitation, and hygiene are paramount to one existence. So for me, that was the first thing that I had to deal with in the city of Paynesville, was to ensure that we put in a waste collection system.
Okay.
Work with the World Bank and other partners, and also to go out and source funding for the city corporation. So waste management was my primary focus. After that, my second focus was to ensure that we reshuffled the city corporation. When you go into city corporations, a lot of people don't know. People really think that there's only maybe 2 or 3 functioning departments within a city corporation, whereas they don't realize it runs anywhere from 9 to about 13. So you have everything from environmental health to community services to city planning to your police to special projects. You have departments. So I had to go in there and restructure the city corporation, come out with terms of references, ensure people are properly placed within the city corporation so that they could work effectively. And so that we have some level of transparency and accountability when it came to the city corporation. The third thing was the taxation of the city corporation, so that the residents and the businesses whom were paying taxes could see where their taxes were going, so that they understood that they weren't receiving the taxes and misappropriating their funds. That clearly they were clearly defined on what their funds would be for, and they were beneficiaries of that money. Yes.
Great. So now we're going to move into a different segment where we're really going to focus on women in politics. So we've tried to, we learn who you are, what you've done, all the amazing things. But now I'm just going to go straight into these questions. And so, like I said earlier, you are on Wikipedia. So I'm like, I'm going to say it again. But, last year at the General Assembly at the UN, majority of the head of states were men. Why do you think it's still an issue? And how can this change?
Well, I mean, you mean why we lack female?
Why aren't more women stepping up to be head of state, or why aren't more women given the opportunity to lead?
Well, women, there are quite a number of reasons why we lack female participation when it politics. It's everything from violence, because there's a tendency when women are running for political positions, there's violence. They attack the woman. I'm sure you saw that recently when it came to Botokana in Liberia, in Bapolu, that we literally had to go in and protect her, pull her out, and ensure that she won the seat, provided her with the financing and the moral support so that she got the seat in which she fought for. And that is where we did called let her take her seat, and now has evolved to the Lapa Revolution. Yeah, and that is something that's come out of that. But it's usually because of violence. Another issue is the woman has the ability to finance her campaign. Even though women, and when I talk about this in the Liberian context, 9 times out of 10, the man of the head of the house is the head of the household.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at it beyond that, women have difficulty attaining funds so that they are able to finance their campaign. The male counterpart, when he comes out and he says that he's running for XYZ, it doesn't matter if this is selling slipper.
Mm-hmm.
His friends will gather around him and provide with the support that's needed so that he ascends to the seat. Whereas with women, it's a little bit more difficult because our roles are different in society. You understand? The woman doesn't have as much time out in the street as the man does. She gets the kids ready for school. She go to work. She come home, the children come home. She taking care of the children. She doing homework. She washing clothes. She cooking dinner. She doing. What time is she going to find to go out and campaign for those resources that she needs to run for that position? Another thing that affects women is the fact that political parties are usually led. The political leaders are usually men. Okay. And men usually automatically support other men. They don't support women. Then we have other things that are broader. You know, we have gender inequalities in our families. People feel that women should not be involved in politics, that they should remain in their homes. We have unnecessary scrutiny of, our women in their private lives. When women are running for politics, they talk about all sorts of things. Look at the way the woman dress. Is she married or is she not? And these are things that literally I have been through myself. Mm-hmm. You married or you're not married? Do you have children? And if you have children married, what time are you going to find to deal with politics when you have to be home taking care of the household?
Wow.
I mean, believe it or not, this also happened in the great United States and Europe as well. Exactly. That's why you see there's little, female participation in politics, but we have to put instruments in place to ensure that we have female participation in politics.
So, researching you, we realized that you have been advocating for women, but what made you to start this? What made you feel compelled to advocate for the greater political participation of women, and how do you see your role as a woman advocate in changing the status quo?
Well, the first thing is that out of everything that I am, the thing I am is woman. Mm-hmm. And I see the challenges our women go through that are bidding for participation in politics. And with the roles that I've placed in government and my access. And also, like I stated to you, I'm fortunate to come from a long line of women who are very strong and who have, allowed me to become who I am and have built me in this particular way. Ooh. I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, we back.
Sorry. Understand my strengths and look at our women in our society. And look, women have always been the forefront of politics. I mean, we have had strong women in leadership position in our country. Mm-hmm. We've had the first female president on the continent, but let's go beyond that. We have Angie Brooks Randall.
Yep.
We had Emma Shannon Walter. We have had women from the beginning of time that have been in leadership positions. So there's no reason why I do not feel that there's a need for me to stand up today, considering the roles that I have played in our political arena, to say that we are going to pull as many women along as we can. And that is my position right now. We are going to ensure that we have female participation in politics. We are going to ensure that other political parties in the Republic, much like, I don't know if you Liberty Party, mm-hmm. we have established a policy to ensure that we have 50-50 gender parity within the Liberty Party when it comes to women participation. Amazing. So it is my responsibility and is the responsibility of other women to ensure that we have a seat at the table for women in the Republic of Liberia. Because if we don't, that means that we are not represented. And the first thing I am is woman, and I will ensure that women are represented in every way, shape, and form in our country.
Awesome. So you had an opportunity to work with two strong women, Madam Salif and, of course, Mayor Bro. What did you learn about women in leadership?
Well, I learned that women lead differently. And it's unfortunate to say, because I'm being interviewed by a man and I have brothers and a mother.
It's okay.
Women, men lead for the short term.
Okay.
I think the vision is very short term. Women lead for the long term, meaning that the vision is long term and it's not short term. Everything that a woman does is calculated and it is thought before she proceeds.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to make sure that all of her ducks are in the row and to ensure that if there is anybody that is negatively affected by anything, that she finds a way to prevent that from taking place. Exactly. Men lead like that. They lead differently. And so I learned quite a bit. I mean, it's my interaction with Madame Bro, and I learned extensively from then when I got with Madame Salif, who's a heck of an economist and a strategist. I learned a great deal of things from her as well. But one of the things that I did learn is that women, we lead differently. We lead differently. We lead for longevity. It's not short term. We're not thinking about ourselves. I remember one of the things that I always said, during our administration was that when it came to services, that I believe women should have been placed in those positions. I'm talking about places like LEC, water and sewage, telecommunications. Will ensure that we have those services because when we go home, we want to make sure that our have electricity so they can do their homework. So our children can watch TV. And it's not just our children, but it is the masses. So not that it's just sitting in the city center, but also that it reaches the hinterlands, that we have water for our children to take bath and for us to wash our clothes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Those are our primary focus. Whereas from the male perspective, if the man, he got LEC at his house and he not going home, he will buy generator for his girlfriend. And it's so.
This is why I love this show.
What the whole family sitting in darkness. He got water at the house. He got problem. He will put polytech at the girlfriend house. Mm-hmm. Am I lying?
Somebody got to lay their head.
You see? Whereas the woman will make sure that everybody, including the girlfriend, has water and current. So that's the difference in female leadership.
I like that. But I think we're moving to a time, where everybody's talking about young women. But why do you think the role of a young woman in politics is so important?
Well, because we have so many. Look, 58% of our population are women. Mm-hmm. 78% of our population are young people. The numbers are clear. That we must set examples for our young people. We must set examples for our young girls. We must set examples for our elders. I'm talking about even the ones that are older than me and you that are still having children, to ensure that the girls, their daughters, their nieces go to school. Because believe it or not, in our society, we still marginalize young girls and force them to stay in the homes and send the young boys to school. Mm-hmm. It is important that we have this dialogue. It is important that we go from house to house and door to door to let them know that, please, you deserve to go to school. You get to school, get out and go to school. Tell your mom you won't go to school. And if the mother does not have the ability, let's just say it's a single mother who has lost the father thing, as the woman is our responsibility to find some way to empower that woman to ensure that girl's to go to school, because she's going to lift her mother out of poverty. It is our responsibility to do so. Give our children more to strive for, to give them more dreams. Not for us to talk to our daughters and talk to our sons and ask them, what you want to be when you grow up? And you say, I want to work for government. Why you want to work for government to eat my own? No. Mm-hmm. There's more to life than that. Say you want to grow up so that you become a doctor, a lawyer, you know what I mean? An engineer, accountant, something to contribute to your national quota, not a way to strip your nation.
Okay. I want to go extremely personal, because I think most often Liberian women are seen as more progressive, free than other African nations. Do you think that freedom to be involved has resulted in the positive outcomes in the political posts they have occupied?
I'm sorry, do I think freedom has...
Do you think that freedom to be involved has resulted in the positive outcomes in the political posts they have occupied?
Women?
Yeah, women, because I think in Liberia, Liberian women are more progressive, and I think that when it comes to Africa, Liberian women are more progressive. So do you think there's some sort of freedom to be involved that has resulted in this? A lot of Liberian women are getting into politics and all that stuff.
Yes. And I think Madam Salif has also laid the premise for that. Well, that's what she's done for us. She's allowed us to know that women can ascend to the highest position in our country. Look, with all of the things Yemi talking about, that yes, we're not getting the participation that we want. We don't have full gender parity. I don't know if in the House requesting 30% gender parity, which I thought was absolutely absurd because that is something one of our partners brought to us. I think that if we have 50% population of women, 50% of the House should be.
Agree.
Nothing less. But the fact is that Liberian women, believe it or not, we've always had support of men to some extent. We're able to have people like Emma Shannon Walter, C. Leona Chesson, Angie Randall Brooks, so many women that have come, they've seen, they've done for us, and they're gone. And some of them are still around. But with that said, Liberian women are weak. We are different. We believe in ourselves. And the fact that we believe in ourselves and Madam Salif laid the premise for ascent to the highest seat in the country, yes, I do agree.
So, that I want to focus on Africa, but I really want to be exact when it comes to Liberia. What kind of initiatives are in place to empower women in politics? And what more do you think is needed?
Well, the revolution is one of them. Mm-hmm. The Lapa Revolution, what we've done thus far and what we're gearing towards is 2023. Okay. The Lapa Revolution is an organization founded by women from various backgrounds who were forthcoming when it came to the situation with Edith, Boto, and Grace, which were three women that ran for senatorial positions in Liberia and had difficulties primarily because they were women. And what we've resolved is we need to ensure that we provide our women with all of the support necessary to ascend to the positions in which they are campaigning to. So the Lapa Revolution has said, okay, we're not only going to provide these people with more support, our women with more support, but we're also going to ensure that we provide them with financial support. We're going to go into their various districts, counties, and campaign with them to ensure that we have gender parity when it comes to the House. So that's one of the first that we're working on. That's the immediate that we're working on. Then we'll also work on women to ensure that they have the capacity when they get in these, like Boto's situation. Boto is a meat seller, but Boto is educated. Boto can sit in there and she can debate issues in which she cannot debate or where she finds difficulty in. Women like us and other women, we are going to step into the gap to ensure that she has the platform that's needed for her to speak for Liberia and also for her constituents. That's the immediate thing doing. Beyond that, I go back to the fact that we must ensure that the girl child goes to school. Education is important. Education builds confidence. If a girl is not educated, she's not going to be forthcoming when it comes to politics. She's not going to be forthcoming when it comes to positions. She's not even going to be forthcoming when it comes to clubs in her school. So we must educate the girl child. There are many of us that are providing scholarships for girls and boys, but we are making our primary focus at present to ensure that we educate as many girls as we can. They say you educate a girl child, you educate a nation. And that is what we're working on right now.
And that's amazing because I think I have one sister. And so, we just have some issues where, when we are talking, I can see the little bit of intimidation. And so I have to call her on the side and say, no. When we're making decisions about our parents and what we need to do for them, I need you to speak up. Yes. I said, I don't want you to ever leave the conversation feel that because you are a woman, you couldn't say what you wanted to say. And so I made that pact. I said, whenever you feel that way, you need to hold me accountable. So I'm the who's among us as you're going to say, hey, I needed to say something, and you guys didn't let me get my point across. And I think with that, that's an opportunity to give her so she can understand it, in her daughter, to let her know that you got a seat at the table.
Yes,
You
yes.
have a seat at the table, and I think that is across the board. And talking about that, I think you probably touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to bring it up. I think most often right now, because of the influx of, the U.S. has a female vice president. We had a female president. Now we have a female vice president. I think now parents are targeting and talking to the girls about being president. What about really, really focusing on the daughters to get him to change policy, to change legislation, to be in the Senate, to be in the representative? How can we really tackle that?
To have the discussion about getting in the Senate and being
Yeah, instead of
representatives.
I think right now it's like, Ellen Johnson was a president, so I can be a president. But I'm like, yes, you can be a president, but what about changing policies? Because I feel like the whole rape issue in Africa and the inequality when it comes to women, there's a legislation like, like polygamy, all those stuff, there's a legislation that can be changed that women needs to step up, because I have realized that for when you take issues to parliament or when you take issues to policy leaders, you need to represent that issue. So if I go there and I'm talking about gender equality, they're looking at me like, okay, you do. But when a woman come and explain her issues and what has affected her, it makes it more understandable. I might be wrong, but what do you think?
No, I agree. And no, and not that it just makes it more understandable, but you speaking on it is also very important. I want to start from the end and go back, to the beginning. It's important because you are what we call a he for she. It's important that we have you in the room, important that we have you on the floor. It's important that you are raising these issues, because then it gives the men the clear understanding that is coming from a male perspective instead of just a woman's perspective. Because it gets to the point where when men hear women talking, then they just hear wah, wah, wah. Then when she would not stop talking, then she's talking about women issues. No, when it comes from a male, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And when it comes to us having this conversation with our daughters, not just going for the presidency, but going for other, other positions as well, that's something that I think that everyone should be doing, because you just don't ascend to presidency. It doesn't just happen overnight. Like you have to take steps on the ladder. For me to become deputy mayor to mayor of Bro, I took steps. It gradually took. For me to become mayor of Paynesville, it took steps. I had to gain knowledge. I had to gain experience. I just didn't ascend to the position. So we have to let our daughters know that we're going to have to go through the ranks to ascend to this position. Everyone isn't favored to become president immediately. And Madam Salif was not favored to become president immediately. It was 3 tries. That's when she became president. And if you look at it, the record shows that something about our continent that usually it takes people 2 to 3 times to become president in any country. So, let's look at the drawing board and see that you just can't ascend to the position. When you speak about, putting policies into place, I completely agree with you. We must put policies into place, national policies to govern women, govern men, to govern the way that we are going to ensure that we have gender parity in our country. If we don't have these policies in place, we're wasting our time. Again, I will go back to Liberty Party again. We have done what is necessary to ensure that we have full female participation in our party. We pray that other political parties follow suit and do the same. And I will go back to education. Education is everything. Education is everything.
And you talk about education, and I'm not sure if you're aware of something that just happened, but I know a couple of days ago, somebody sent me some videos about this new, I believe it's supposed to be a reality show that's going on in Liberia. And the videos were it was like 3 girls that they were asking these dumb questions. The interviewer were asking questions that didn't make sense. And each girl, they made fool out of them. And it really hurt me, because I'm just like, the couple of people who sent it were women. And they were laughing. And I'm like, okay, you're a woman. This is a video that is being made fun of another woman. And there's another man who's asking this question. Did you realize that yet again, This is another opportunity for a man to make a woman feel less than. And so maybe the way I think is wrong, but I really want to have a conversation with you about this, where I have realized that most often when it comes to social media and everything, women are the first to tear other women down. Have you experienced that?
I have. I have actually experienced that. And frankly speaking, I don't condone it. I don't condone it, and neither do I participate in it. If anything, the women who actually sent you whatever footage it is, and I'm sure 9 times out of 10, they were probably the same age or older than those young ladies. They should have, tried to reach out to them and let them know that, this is the way you go about answering these questions and provide them with some sort of. I feel that, they're just, it's horrible done that. They shouldn't have done this. Inappropriate, because I would tell you, men don't do it to other men.
No.
They don't do it to other men. They will actually pat that man on the back and say, Bobby, you answered that question good. That's what they would do. They won't do it to other men. So, we just have to learn how to stick together. Oftentimes it's so unfortunate that I hear it from men that, the reason why we are often unsuccessful is women don't stick together.
Mm.
And now, as Liberian women, I think that we have shown that we have the ability to do that from, the Lapa Revolution. And I pray to God that we continue to keep ourselves binded together and change our country and ensure that we go in the direction that's needed.
And I think you did talk about this earlier, but like I was saying, we normally have conversation. I have conversation with my friends, and we're talking about women in politics, especially about when it really comes to Africa. We have seen that women who have strived and worked hard to do what they're supposed to do as politicians, they're literally looked down upon. And so, can you give us any example or anything that happened to you when you were running for office and where you walk into a room where you felt a certain way because you were a woman?
I will tell you, I have only experienced that once in my life, and I mean, and it was direct. It wasn't even indirect, because I've never walked into a room and felt inferior.
Mm-hmm.
To my male counterparts. Never. I don't think that they know more than me. I mean, they're not more knowledgeable. It's not because they're masculine. There's no reason why I should feel inferior. I've just never felt that way. I'll tell you that I've been verbally insulted by a man, which I found to be insulting, because I had a man come to my office one day. I was in a meeting with somebody else, and it was a representative. He came into my office about 30 minutes later, and I said, I'm sorry, I had a partner in my office, a donor. And so I had a donor here, etc., but I'm sorry for seeing you so late. He said, well, since you made me sit down here and wait this time, go inside your ice box and give me water to.
Excuse me?
And that was the end of the conversation. I said, this is where it ends, because you have to let them know that this is not that sort of playing field. This is a level playing field that we're on here. I'm not your maid. I'm not your nice or something for you to speak to me in that manner. And you've lost your opportunity to speak to me on whatever matter it is that you've been here for. But the bottom line is that that's the only time that I felt demeaned in any sort of way. But I've never walked into there and felt, inferior to my counterparts. I see, I like the fact that you continue to stress Africa, Africa, Africa. I don't know if you look at our continent, you will see that Rwanda is number one when it comes to female participation in politics.
Exactly.
And Paul Kagame has done exceptionally well when it comes to that. They exceptionally well. And, a lot of people don't realize that countries that are post-conflict usually have higher female participation in politics than other countries. And the reason why is because the system is being rebuilt. And you have more women at the table, and they understand the strength of women. They understand that women know how to govern. They understand that women know how to participate in politics. Paul Kagame has done exceptionally well when it comes to that. 61% of the women in the political arena in Rwanda. That is something to speak of. Whereas in Liberia, it's horrible. Going backwards from where we once were. We're at 9%. 9% female participation in our country.
Wow.
Whereas we were once at 11. In the cabinet, our cabinet, there are 21 seats. We
Yeah.
only have 3 that are occupied by women. The House of Representatives, 73 seats. As far as I know, I think we have only 8 that are occupied by women. The Senate, 30 seats. We only have 2 that are occupied by women. We're in trouble.
Oh, big trouble.
Yeah, not that we just don't have participation. We're not represented in any way, shape, and form.
And that is where I go in to say, you, for someone who have, you've done all you can do. What is it that someone out there who's listening to us and who's watching us, who's a Liberian, what can we do to make sure that there are 50% women and 50% men within parliament, within elected seats, whatever it is? How can we do that?
The first thing you do is, whatever political party you belong to, make sure that there's a quota set for women. That's the first thing. If you do not have a quota set for women, that means that you're not looking for female participation. You're looking for women to scramble for a seat at the table. Let us know that you're set a quota for women. And when you set that quota for women, that quota met. What am I saying? In political parties or your candidates that you have, ensure that 50% of your women, 50% of your candidates are women, 50% are men. You will be sure that women will be represented because you've already shown that negatively that you have 50% participation in women. That's the first thing. The second thing, again, I will go back to education. Even though
it's important.
Pardon?
I say it's important.
It is important. It is important. It is important. Our educational system is inferior. We do have grave issues. But the fact is that regardless of that, we must educate our girl child.
Yes.
It is important for us to do that. And when a woman asks you for support her.
Mm-hmm.
Support her. You can support more than one candidate, my people. You don't have to be on one candidate.
No.
Support her. If you can support her financially, support her, but support that woman because you come from woman. That is the beginning of everything.
Now that's a tagline right there. Support a woman because you come from a woman.
Yes, you come from a woman. Without a woman, you wouldn't be here because you surely can come out of.
So we're coming. I don't do that because then we're gonna go do a whole.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
I will tell you to leave that conversation alone for another day. But no,
oh God! But I mean, prime example in Ethiopia. I don't know if you know Ethiopia. In 2 years, they increased political representation by 30%, and women in Africa have a long, rich history. My brother, long, rich history. Political activism in different forms.
Yes,
from pre-colonial to colonial and post-colonial times. So women should know their place in society. Stand up, advance, and be recognized. You have the ability, you have the capacity. Move forth and change our country and change our continent in the direction in which you need to see it go. Not only for yourself, but for your children. You are not living for yourself, you are living for your children as well. Get up, stand up, and do something for the greater good.
Well, this has been a conversation, and so I'm going to ask you the last question. What's next for the honorable, most eloquent, outspoken Cyvette Gibson? What's next?
Well, we will continue to have, continue to to participate in politics. Ensure we advocate for our women. Ensure that we advocate for children. And make sure that Liberia goes in the direction. Look, Edwin, for me, my life has always been that it's not about, especially in the political arena and serving my country and my people, that it's not about self-preservation. It is about national preservation. How is it that we can ensure that Liberia leapfrogs to the next stage? Because it's very necessary. Believe it or not, we are very far behind the other countries, our continent, and we must leapfrog forward. We have no time to waste. So in whatever way, shape, and form I'm able to place our country on a platform in a positive light, I'm going to be there. Whatever I'm going to be there. 23, the women of Liberia are to be a force to reckon with. We are not going to sit down and we're going to be heads. We are going to take this country like the bull with the horns, pull it in and make sure that Liberia moves forward. That's all. And I'm just excited that I will have the opportunity to serve our people in whatever way, shape, and form. But I want to tell you, look out for Cyvette Gibson, whether if it's in the legislature, whether if it's in the Senate, whether it's in the executive, whether it's in the private sector. But I'm sure that Cyvette Gibson is going to be here to make sure that Liberia progresses. I say thank you very much, Edwin, for the opportunity, and may God bless our country.
Look, and I told you guys, she was the real deal. I told them they were playing with me. I told them, I said, look, I don't hear this woman speak. This woman is the real deal. But Cyvette Gibson, this was the conversation, outspoken and opinionated. You were amazing. From us to you, we wish you God's blessing, everything that you do. May you succeed in everything, and we are behind you 100%. The conversation is on the road in December, and we will be in Liberia.
Awesome.
So, at 2023, I'm ready because I need to see my sisters out there. So I am ready for whatever happens. Okay, but this was amazing, amazing, amazing. We want to say thank you for honoring the invitation. Thank you for coming. This was great, and it's been an hour. And so I'm going to say good night. Everybody have a great time. And is there anything you want to say to the people?
I want to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak on your platform. We need the diaspora to play their role when it comes to our country. We need the diaspora to talk to their people on the ground, to let them know that, these are the priorities in our country. And please make sure that you vote in this direction. I want for our people to understand that women's participation in politics is imperative for the growth of our nation and the education of our young girls. I say thank you very much again for the opportunity, and I look forward to serving our country as I am doing right now in any way, shape, and form I can. God bless you, Edwin.
And that was the voice of Cyvette Gibson. Have a good night.